Hey, T-Dog. Close one. Okay, we're good to go? All right, the plan here is I will not talk for that much time today, so I just want to say thank you for those who came out. Thank you for those who are watching live on Instagram. So who we are, Outpost, we have two programs. We have a Writers in Residence program where the fellows are here in the month of September, and we have a Vermont Fellows program where you're with a Vermont BIPOC writer for over the course of the year. This is going into our 5th year, so applications are open. Pretty extraordinary and kind of crazy. It feels like we just started this, but we've been able to support a ton of writers. What makes us unique in the residency space is that our writers are paid to be here. I think as we sat around as a board, I think Tim Murray, one of our board members, I remember the phrase that was bounced around a lot was just, space, time without expectation. And so we hope that we've kind of given that to our fellows, right? There's no, we don't have conversations about what's going to happen. There's nothing due, right? There's one reading, and that's this that comes at the end. But we have been so blessed with phenomenal writers, phenomenal people who have blessed the property. The community support has been extraordinary. This past year, support from the Henry Luce Foundation has allowed us to boost what was our award to now $4,000 for there to come. Travel is included. All of their meals are included. This year, Joelle, who will be the MC, is Outpost manager, is cooking for them. I'm sure we'll hear about all the meals and making sure that everything is okay. I'll say you'll see a bunch of QR codes around here. This is a fundraiser for those watching over the internet. You can donate on our website as well. I mean, I know this moment is particularly fraught and we oftentimes feel overwhelmed, but these are the things that you can do to support particularly writers who are being actively silenced in these moments. We've been, again, the Luce Foundation in this past year, we've been fortunate with the support that we've been given, but we want to keep doing this. And we're growing. I was just talking with Rage, one of the writers you'll hear from. We're going to be organizing a reading for Outpost alum north of the border in Canada, upcoming in 2026. We've recently partnered with the Vermont Studio Center, where starting in 2027 and ongoing every year, there will be an Outpost alum that will serve as a visiting writer. So, we're not just, the writers don't just come and sit with us for the month, but we hope to create a sense of family and continue to support their careers in any way that we can moving forward. On that note, there are a ton of books over here. This is great. When we first did this, we obviously had books from our board members, books from the first writers that were there, and then it was like books from Vermont and tangentially related stuff. All the stuff over there is direct connections to Outpost. So Damani Thomas, who you'll hear from, his book did not arrive here, but we will blast on Instagram. We will buy a bunch of copies and give them away for free. If it comes tonight or tomorrow, hopefully they'll be signed while you're still here. Another fellow's book, Bernardo Wade, who was here last year. His book drops from Lookout in early October. I have a QR code set up here, a QR code right there by the book. Buy it, pre-order, those things matter for what are tremendous books. Ross Gay, if anyone knows poetry, knows Ross Gay. Ross Gay writes a foreword to this book, obviously blurbs it. Bernardo Wade is an extraordinary talent for those in the room who heard him read last year. All right, I'm gonna say that's it for me. Joe, before I introduce you, just thank you for all you've done. Emily and I have been in Montreal, since the late summer, and being able to entrust you kind of with all this has been just really life-giving. So I appreciate you. Okay. Thank you. Woo! Woo!
I welcome sincerity into the room. And before I turn the mic over to our speakers this evening, I want to share a bit about these fellows I've been lucky to have the pleasure of getting to know this month. I came into this role imagining I would mostly be cooking dinner for our two current fellows, David and Damani, and retrieving for them whatever they needed to make their time here as comfortable and enjoyable as possible. But throughout this month, we shared writings with each other, hosted our own open mic, communed with the night. We've admired the cows and horses as gorgeous sunsets beckoned us homeward. We've eaten more kale, probably more than all of you combined. We've opened ourselves up to an intimacy born of an appreciation of our blackness, our aliveness, our kindness to ourselves, in honor of the beauty of what we attempt to do through language. Through those, though there are those of us here more verbose than others within the group, we've talked craft, we've talked family, we've talked nightmares and freedoms, we ate good, we made being together a practice of laughter, of quiet, of safety, and sincerity. It's been an honor to watch them work and pace in the yard and blend things and bake things. Thank you both for your willingness, thank you all, and Rage, for your willingness to show up as you are, for your stories, your peculiar questions, for enjoying my food, for taking good care of yourselves. Thank you, Rage, for illuminating to us how else freedom and safety can look, what it means to define it for yourselves and for your loves, for coming over and lighting up our day on what was the first of many of these recurring rainy days. I hope you'll enjoy these beautiful writers as much as I have. Maybe afterwards you might ask them about nightmares, or whether they aspire to be spies, or what poetry power means to them. I will leave you with this intention that I wrote for our time together before the fellows arrived. And I would say that we lived pretty faithfully to it. May we be kind to one another and encouraging and sincere and moody at times, but loving. May we be honest and truthful and beautiful in each breath. First up tonight is Rage Hezekiah, our 2025 Vermont Fellow. Rage is a poet. I will ask you to hold your applause until I'm done with all of the fellows. Rage is a poet and educator who earned her MFA from Emerson College. Her newest collection, Yearn, which is over there, won the 2021 Diode Editions Book Contest and was a Lambda Literary Award finalist and a Vermont Book Award finalist and an Audre Lorde Award for Lesbian Poetry finalist. Woohoo! She's received fellowships from Kenham, McDowell, and the Ragdale Foundation, and her poems have been published internationally. Please welcome Rage. Woo! Following Rage will be David Emeka, one of our 2025 Fellows in Residence. David is a queer writer from Nigeria who just graduated with an MFA from Washington University in St. Louis. His work explores themes of loneliness, mental health, family, morality, queer community, and joy. His fiction has appeared in Brittle Paper, the Kalahari Review, and the Edroid Journal, and he's currently working on short stories begging to be novels. Please welcome David. And finally, Damani Thomas, our other 2025 Fellow in Residence. Damani is a writer, a nerd, and a bird, possibly, and an aspiring game enthusiast from Oakland, California. He's interested in those tiny moments that capture attention spans. Damani was recently awarded an Emerging Voices Fellowship through PEN America, and his debut chapbook, Grown Up Elementary, as Ricardo mentioned, was published this year. When he's not writing poetry, you can find him studying horror movies, dancing, and making really good coffee matcha milkshakes, and eating too many fries. Please welcome Damani. Afterwards, but welcome Rage now.
Oh, that made me teary. Thank you. Hi, I'm so grateful to be here. Yeah, this fellowship has been so meaningful and productive to me, and I I just love this organization, so thank you. I am gonna read some newer work that I worked on this summer. Yearn really explores young sensuality and desire, and also my desire for a child. And I became a parent in 2022. And I'm really tired of writing IVF poems. But that is what has been coming out of my body for the last few years. And so I'm gonna read some newer poems, and I'm gonna end light. That is my promise. I'm gonna end light. Somehow I'm afraid to write about your ghost, how you shimmer and stun me, render me restless. 2 years gone, your sweet mother sends presents for my toddler. Picture books you loved, Bear and Wolf, Where is Spot? New England October swells, rampant technicolor, petrichor, wet and wondrous. My small son smells the shift, how soon to be attuned to autumn, already learning the scent of decay. Ode to a failed embryo. Sweet imperfect circle, celebrated blastocyst, warm center, acute with potential. I huddled limpet shells around your toneless image, rose port hymns, honeycombed heart, fruited ghostling, you could have been anyone. So I learned about something that happens annually in Vermont that I had never seen, called the Big Night. Do you all know what this is? The Big Night is the first rainy evening that the temperature goes over 50 degrees, I think, and so all of the reptiles come out. I'm like looking at the one scientist I know in the room. I'm like, that's what it is, right? That's accurate? Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing that happens. My wife and I went out one night and we came home and the whole front of our door was plastered in frogs. And I thought it was like the freakiest thing I had ever seen before. So this is called Big Night. The service berry barely in bloom. We come home after dark to our door, riddled with frogs. Fragile creatures clinging to glass, suspended, frantic, flickered heartbeats in translucent throats, quick, shallow breath, thin skin backlit by porch light. Where are their mothers? I have been edged out of my own life. My sweet, snotty toddler blurts urgent words, threaded with desire. More banana, blocks, bubbles, open, outside. Lately, he dislikes my sweatshirts, demands I disrobe before lifting him into my lap. You know this nest. This is about the Phoebe's nest above your kitchen window. I live in Phoebe's house now. I'm like, wait, someone in this room knows about this nest. Oh, poet life. Okay. When the nest is empty of fledglings, I will feel gaslit. This is not a normal response. My son woke before dawn. I stood at the kitchen sink, watched the nest full of babies huddled at the precipice. I contemplated neglect while carpenter ants soldiered inside. Living in the woods is a battle for terrain. We used to call our cat the little king. Now he's usurped by our mobile infant who nibbles electrical cords, fondles everything breakable. While coffee brews, I rinse the cat fountain mildewed pink, wet cemetery of poisoned arthropods. The ants came after mice and pantry moths. I'm always ruining a tiny family, desperate to protect my own. Okay, I'm gonna read 2 more. So the first, I lost a friend to an opioid overdose a couple of years ago. And it feels really scary to write into that space of loss, but that has been happening more lately. So I'm gonna read one more poem about that, and then I will close with a much lighter poem. Collecting your clothes after your overdose. I nestle faded flannels, navy sweatpants, Kate Bush t-shirts, clutch empty shapes, hoard your scent, sea glass wisp, windswept ethanol. I inhale hard, stop my breath. You spent fish outwriggled, hallway slumped. You lived like thunder, your laugh 100 pennies down the stairs, breathless tin, your calloused fingers on your fender's frets. We huddled under comforters in your childhood bedroom. You were always up to something. Now the snow heaps, sequins iridescent, relentless moonlight. You remind me I can glimpse a celebration, barred owl perched by our barren garden. And this is my last poem. Thanks for listening. This is called Gratitude. Nearly everyone I love is living. I am living, and my wife beside me snores gently in our bed. The bullfrog chorus wakes before dawn. Perhaps they never slept. Their throated croak alternating with the cat's soft purring, his body's comma curled at our feet. The baby will come. Buddhists say abandon hope, but the poet says, listen, I love you, joy is coming. A friend in the midst of divorce braids me a friendship bracelet, vibrant marigold, teal and green, spiral my ankle. The note in her letter says joy is here. My contentment an inside job, my paid work tedious, the houseflies somehow multiplying inside. But look, here is a life riddled with sweetness and abundance, palm unfurling, fiddlehead to fern. Thank you.
And now I welcome David to the podium.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Thanks for being here this evening. Thank you. I first just want to say thank you to everyone at Outpost. I remember the evening Ricardo called me to tell me I got into this, and we had just gotten very terrible news in my MFA program like that very evening, and it was very anchoring to have to look forward to this, or to know that this was going to come at the end of the summer. And I think all of the work I was able to get done, even back in St. Louis, like I was able to because I knew I was coming out to this, and I'm very thankful for that. And the month has just been lovely. There are so many things I didn't know I liked eating until I got here. Like every evening, Dimani and I would just be like, Joel has done it again. Like, I don't know how, but it's, yeah, like, and just having this space to think, my process is very chaotic, and you know, like just being able to pace around the property, like no matter how anxious I get, it's like being in my head, like I can't be larger than the mountains, you know, and that was very calming. I'm going to be reading from a story I started this summer. It was the very first thing I began writing, and I started it partly because I'm very homesick right now. Like the longer I'm away from Nigeria, the more I miss it. And I found myself writing more about the place. Like I've always written about the people, but I found myself writing more about the place, and thinking about, you know, like the intersection between time and morality. Like that's like very, I think those are the questions I think about the most. And so in this story, it takes place, or the entirety of it spans less than a week. And it's very long. I'm only reading like the very first 4 pages of it. My stories tend to be very long, so it's impossible to get it all here. But what you need to know is it's centered between the relationship between this mother and her son, and it's his birthday. Like it's his birthday during the weekend, and he's come up to her to tell her that his boyfriend is coming over. You know, and he's just like, this is a passive thing that's happening, despite knowing like the sort of ambient homophobia that exists in the country. And that situation was interesting to me because I wanted to see, like he tells her this in the middle of the week and sort of alters the way like the week is going to go. Like the week has already been altered through like this looming wonderful family thing, and then he introduces these elements to their family dynamics. And at first I thought the story was going to end tragically. I wanted a tragic ending, but I was like, there is no way this is going to end happily. But somehow it did. Like, I don't know how that happened. But this is the first 4 pages of that. I hope you enjoy. It's titled Ordinary Things. As though it were any ordinary applaudable thing, her son declared his boyfriend was visiting for the weekend. He had marched into the kitchen where she stood making dinner, calling "Mommy," and then delivering the words that beat the blood senseless in her head, withering her hands and throat. Should his father ask, he continued, uninstructed, his boyfriend was simply a friend trying to learn web design. He knew how difficult the request it was, but it would mean a lot to him if she just opened her heart. I've heard you, a little murmured, forcing life into her fingers. The evening had sunk into decrepit folds, her pot furiously spitting hot drops of tomato paste as she stirred the boiling bits at the bottom. With the end of her wrapper, she wiped splatter and sweat from her face. Henry remained standing behind her, shirtless and muscled, severe beyond his age of 24. It's not like I wanted to spring this on you, he said. I just confirmed it now. He's coming Friday afternoon and going on Sunday morning, so you will mostly spend time with him on Saturday. Oledo nodded. It was Wednesday. She had written the dates that morning in white chalk in the top left corner of her classroom's blackboard. She had thought, excited, that it was one less day till Henry's birthday. "Are you making jollof rice?" he asked, leaning in, even though the pot of rice sat starkly at the foot of the stove. He was trying to be nearer to her, to seduce her with his presence, which he had withheld these past many weeks. "Yes," Oledo answered angrily, but the anger remained trapped in her mouth, in her jaws. She stirred the stew, which appeared to her sour and sad. She refused to cry. Ashamed for the lack during Henry's graduation in December, all year she had put aside percentages of her salary to get him this birthday present, a small week-long feast culminating on Saturday, the D-Day. She had drawn out an elaborate plan, meaning to cook a goosey soup with stockfish and beef today, jollof rice with plantains on Friday, but NEPA had not brought the lights in 2 days, and she was afraid of making a pot of soup that would go bad, forcing her to substitute the meals. "It smells so good already," Henry praised. "But why don't you use the gas cooker? It's not for decoration. Sitting like this is bad for your back." Oledo wanted him gone. She could not think, as if with a hammer he kept striking or with a bulldozer he raised her inner faculties. She looked up at the glazed white metal, displaced in this cramped room of sticky cement floors and grimy plumbing, termite-eaten woods and soot-stained window nets. It brought her anxiety. She had to store her phone far away in the parlor before she turned it on, and before going to bed, she performed double, triple checks that there were no leaks. For her birthday last month in May, Henry had sent her the money to buy the gas cooker and prepare jollof rice for her pupils. At the time, she'd been moved to tears by his sympathy, his dutiful attempt at alleviating the despondence she had begun to feel all year. In the middle of class, she had told him, she experienced sudden pangs of foreboding, watching the hungry children rife with ringworms, lacking sufficient books or clean uniforms. They couldn't learn anything, she grieved, and if they did, who was to say it mattered anymore? The country was upside down, dying. It had no future. In her own life, she kept cutting and shrinking and managing. She made her soaps, her bleach, her air freshener, her hand sanitizers. In the school farm, she grew ugu and grain and water leaf and ora. She discovered the cheapest provisions brand. She cuttered and diced and scrapped eggs out of moi. She cooked stew steeped in so much cheap oil they survived being warmed for days. Every morning, she got up by 4 a.m. to begin making meals, and she only fell asleep after the 9 p.m. NTA news. She cut her hair low and eschewed jewelry and stooped at the Yaba to buy decent clothes in a shoddy pile. And every year she took a bus to Abuja to write promotional exams, after which her name did not come up, despite the fact that she had a master's degree. On and on and on, endlessly, no matter what she did, the country was one step ahead. It was unbearable. Speaking to Henry was her favorite part of the day. Massaging her shoulders, he said to her, "Do you know someone that earned 100,000 10 years ago and more than someone making 1 million now?" He said, "Being Nigerian makes you realize how money is meaningless numbers. 2,000 naira is nothing in the global scheme of things, yet it's so difficult to get and might be the difference between life and death." He understood her. He gave words to what ailed her. He had injected joy back in her profession, beamed up her days with meaning, so that when on her birthday he distributed the packs of food to the children, she had felt so suffused with the certainty that her life would be beautiful in the end. And she said, "Everyone, see Uncle Henry. He just graduated from university with a first class in mechanical engineering. He brought this delicious food for us because of my birthday. Who wants to be like Uncle Henry when they grow up?" The children all raised their hands. "Me." "Good. Then you'll have to study very, very hard. You'll have to burn the midnight candle so you can make your mommy and daddy proud. Do you understand?" "Yes, Auntie," they chorused, their eyes on Henry and ravenous. Henry looked up at her smiling, a little shy, so auspicious and handsome he appeared to lick pools of light. He had ruined it all that night by coming into her bedroom and telling her his secret. He had said things like, "For so long I wanted to kill myself, I need you to understand," as though he was giving her a choice. 2 days hadn't passed before he began forwarding articles to her WhatsApp. In the cool evenings after she returned from work, he took out a chair to sit with her and asked, "So what did you think of the article?" And she said, "Henry, please leave me, let me rest." It was a bastardization of their ritual and she resented him for it. She recognized that if they continued fainting in this way, then it gave them something else to fight about. After a long day teaching children, she complained, grading exercises and quieting noise and settling petty disputes. She did not want to return home to be made to feel like a pupil herself. She argued that even with her glasses, it hurt her eyes to read the continuous small print on her phone. He said he would change his tone, he would print the articles. Olido exhaled when he eventually gave up. She had hoped her feast would reconcile them, even a little. She had made porridge yam the night before, filled with smoked fish and vegetables, and Henry had said, "Mommy, thank you so much," instead of the usual "thanks, ma." And how glad, how joyful those extra words had made her. Now she knew there would be no end. "Take back your gas cooker," she wanted to say to him. "Take back the money for your rice." But she did not say these, however cruel of him to remain here demanding her responses. She raised a hand to her hurting jaw. "Do you see me cooking many things now?" she said. She asked with great strain. "I've already fried my chicken. All I have left to do is finish this stew. If you go to buy gas at the filling station, you will see how much they will call for you." Walking away, he said simply, "Okay." This was his nature, Olido thought, seeking the past to mitigate the shock of her predicament. He was always wishing for her to be more. At age 4, asking why she didn't buy beautiful handbags or tall heels like his aunties, or returning from birthday parties suggesting that she begin cooking with firewood, because Yoruba women cooked with firewood and their jollof rice tasted better than hers. Staying at home itched him. The poverty of their home itched him. She returned from work some days and caught him in a walking daze around the house. When she asked him what was wrong, he said nothing, only to later make suggestions for improvements that, ignored, he made himself. He changed the net doors at the parlor entrance, he tiled the floors of the bathrooms, he endlessly rearranged the couches in the parlor. Did he think she was comfortable living in this house? That she had envisioned remaining in it for 25 years as it crumbled around her? That she had not been young once with aspirations to touch the sky? Olido rested the metal frying spoon, staring past a wispy gecko on the blackened wall. You never listen to children for this reason. Their beliefs were so strong that they swayed this way today and the next way tomorrow. First firewood and now gas cooker. Olido shut her eyes and covered her face. To whom could she say, "My son is a shameless homosexual, but I don't want to lose him"? "Oh, Holy Spirit," she sobbed. "Holy Spirit, help me." After Henry told Olido his secret, she began wondering which of the men she passed by on the road was a homosexual. She knew she would be accounting for only one half of their population, the ones not like Henry, the ones perhaps like his boyfriend. She had had a few pupils in the past who were effeminate, and there was a male teacher, Mr. Sampson, who was 35 and unmarried, always flaring his hands as he spoke. In the staff room, Olido watched him, wondering if he had a lover, if he too had been so lonely the thought of killing himself. She wished to say she understood. She too felt desire as she sank down the drain of her mind. She too had known such wretched loneliness. She had never felt at home in her body, being too thin as a young girl, the stock of unending laughter, and now too fat. She still had no friends except for her fellow teachers, whom she hardly saw outside of school. She tried reading some of the articles. There was one about an Hausa woman who fought to be lovers, about Hausa women who fought to be lovers in the 70s, an essay about a young boy who was benignly different from everyone else. But however much she tried, their lives felt shorn of some fundamental wholeness. Henry's oldest brother Kelvin was expecting a child anytime now. His second brother Tochukwu would marry soon, following suit. With those two, she would never pressure him. What he wanted, her unalloyed acceptance, she would never give. It was a sin. The spoon stung Olido when she picked it up. Angered, she sought to blow off the stove. But if she did, she would have to take her phone to the parlor where Henry sat with his laptop, or to the bedroom where her husband Maduka paced praying on the phone. Otherwise, she would have to relight the stove. She would have to take off the hot metal necklace on which the pot stood, the hot rusting metal core through which the flame was contained, and then crank the incorrigible wicks, using her fingers to draw them up, sooty and hot and suffused with kerosene. All of this still, her back shot through with a familiar ache. She poured pureed tomatoes into the pot and uncovered her bucket of fermenting corn. Because of Henry, she had added guinea corn to the yellow, which was so expensive now, knowing he would detect and be pleased with the difference. They used to sieve the corn together, chatting over the sound of starchy water cascading through floor. Now he just dropped the bucket on the floor and announced his return from the grinding shop. They used to fry granules together afterwards, the both of them impatiently popping hot shells in their mouths and laughing. Olade, Maduka called lovingly. He was always announcing his desire for her presence ahead of his body's efforts towards her. He yelled in this momentous way and then proceeded to rub her shoulders or present his astonishing find of the hour. She heard their bedroom door scraping the ground and then his heavy steps. My beautiful wife, he called in Igbo. You are cooking? You've seen it, she said. He gazed in his singlet and boxers, as gentlemanly as the day they married. Even more so, Oledo thought sometimes, with the new siblings of ash in his hair. She had always found it beneficial to her temperament that he spoke so passionately, with the entirety of his might, incapable of concealment. But in the light of Henry's secrets, she wished for a more subtle husband. He made his living now preaching in buses, and he returned home to intercede for the despair of strangers. While they ate dinner, he recounted to her the situations he encountered that day, buttressing the necessities of his and others' genuine Christian encouragement. At the start of the week, as Oledo planned her feast, Maduka began a 7-day fast. He implored her and Henry to join him in order to usher in Henry's silver year. And Henry agreed but secretly ate his meals. That Maduka could go out daily on an empty stomach, hopping from bus to bus, returning home to break his fast with watermelon and pineapples, and one small meal before embarking again the next day, it all harkened to a strength of spirit Oledo admired and downright coveted. This my wife, he said, looking at her in that way that made her feel completely understood and yet vacant. She knew he would stand there for 2 hours, 12 days, waiting, and it would not occur to him to probe deeper. His eyes were open only for loud actions. Always working, he said. God, see my beautiful wife, the one you've made for me. Please keep her till our old age. Oledo didn't want to listen to all this. She poured her stock and the rice, lowered the wicks. Don't worry, she said, food will soon be ready. It smells delicious. His phone rang and he picked it up, turning away. Excuse me, give me a minute, he said. Oledo imagined she could say, Day, cut the call, this is important. Henry is a homosexual. What do you mean, he would ask her. She would say, he told me last month, the night of my birthday. She would tell him to pause before acting, to think. Henry was an adult now. Wasn't it better to have him close, where they could watch over him and pray, rather than have him lost to the world? But Maduka lacked the delicacy. That old brutality in him would be rocked. He would kill Henry. Thank you.
And finally, welcome Damani Thomas to the podium.
Hey everyone. What is it? Good evening, good afternoon. Okay, so I have a few poems for y'all, and my intention with those poems and with kind of like any reading I do is to like leave people in a better place than where we started. And so I'm going to take on that very unreasonable task. But here we are. Yes, but first I want to say thank you to the folks who like made this month possible. I don't get a lot of writing time back in the Bay Area because of career choices. And yeah, just having a month to write was so strange because it just doesn't happen. And I was telling a friend a few weeks ago that I think I was taking certain images for granted because I see them all the time. And so coming out here and just like seeing like giant trees, like lots of giant trees was incredible. So this first poem is a pastoral for weddings in Vermont. Ain't no church in the wild, but I seen it. Saw the hollow pews time made. Vines of unidentifieds braiding colors into spring. Ain't no church, but I saw a doe lead its fawn towards greener pastures. Count every spider as a guest. Flies whir in shifts and somehow find the tone to Etta James at last. The aisle, exit of a cornfield littered with daffodils and time's bad dye job. The bride came stumbling into frame like a true final girl. Each stalk a paparazzi's flash for dramatic entrance. The wind said, "Congratulations, by the way." Altar before us, a treehouse canopy turning yellow molting American beach. As kids, we were told of moments like this. A happy couple caught in raining gold. I wonder what the view from up there was like. Mid-vow, the bride, teary-eyed, turned to the cornfield, and whatever she saw took her breath away. Last week, I don't like spiders. I'm not like I'm not like afraid of them, right? I just like it's like a boundary thing, you know? So cool. So this next poem is titled "Pest Control Feels Like the End of a Mitski Song." Victim statement from scene of crime. 8 stilt-like doomsday devices drilled into the soft expense of my bedroom ceiling, excavating some unidentified information. Officer, I'm joking. A few weeks ago, a spider attacked me. By attacked, I mean it was minding its own business, but it was dark, and it was black, and it was in my room. And in my room, I am American, ethnically white woman by way of 23andMe. I saw its legs before I gave it a name. Saw it cross my border of non-negotiables and ill. Grabbed the trigger of my sandal before I considered the blood loss. When I won the game, I stood, arms stretched like Rocky conquering those stairs. My God moment interrupted by a sharp pain. My thumb knuckle caught the ceiling that kept this bounty castle fortified. Scraped value off my royalty. This new moat red welled at the hinge. A sliver of humanity revealing muscle tissue, bubblegum pink texture of a fruit roll-up dropped in playground moshes by a riot of light-up Skechers and bedtimes, salt of a flag torn into beef jerky strips. I do not understand the purpose of democracy besides to be consumed. Bald eagle diet, here comes the plane whooshes unto a citizen's tongue runway delicacy. I love my country and the way starved dogs get possessive over a piece of meat. But back to the spider and its 8 legs of world domination. That arachnid had the world to choose from, but this, mine, all mine, all mine. So 2 things you need to know about this next poem. One is I was raised by my mom and grandma, which means that in a lot of situations, they kind of like taught me what my gender meant. And then 2, this poem is a contrapuntal. And for those of you that don't know, a contrapuntal is a 2-column poem, and it can be read left column, right column, and it can also be read across. So I'll signal left, right, and then when it's across. Cool. So this poem is titled Socially XXY. All right, left side. I learned how to take blades to the face from my mother, pruning her eyebrows into thick armor, fresh nails every few weeks filed venomous, points alive with an ombre of pink pathogeny is a magic answers when kids yell, "Where's your dad?" Head rasp coral species that can change genders when men leave. I learned absence looks like dust burning off a heater once winter starts, turning our breath indivisible. 3 generations of almost marriages gathered round apologies. My family is a group of women wearing utility belts, dropping testosterone and threats into every conversation. I swear I will kill that man if he hurt you like they hurt us. Right side. 365 days to apologize with an absence that haunts, missed calls to missed calls. Protandry means freedom queer would die for. I learned habits that have no place of origin besides intersection of men laughing at war broadcasts and final girls hobbling away like clownfish that do overtime like my mother's. I was on track to be my father once, overheard my uncle call him a word the mouths of children shouldn't say. Shouldn't say, I kissed the boy and love thoughts of a wedding, grand expenses down the ass like a 40-inch Fabergé. My mother doing the install in our lonely with Creole mix. Memories of years where the obituaries went unwritten, phones uncalled, tears unwept, grief unsorrows, and speaks. Okay. Second way. I learned how to take 365 days to apologize with blades to the face from an absence that haunts my mother. Pruning missed calls to missed calls, her eyebrows into thick protandry means freedom, armor, fresh nails, every queer would die for. Few weeks filed venomous, I learned habits that have points alive with an ombre, no place of origin besides a peak progeny is a magic intersection of men laughing answers when kids yell at war broadcasts and final girls, "Where's your dad?" Hobbling away like clownfish, head rasp, coral, species that do overtime like my mother's that can change genders when I was on track to be my father. Once men leave, I learned absence, overheard my uncle call him a word, looks like dust burning off the mouths of children. Shouldn't say a heater, once winter starts, shouldn't say I kissed a boy and love turning our breath into thoughts of a wedding, grand, visible, 3 generations of almost expenses, down the ass like a 40-inch Fabergé. Marriages gathered round, my mother doing the install and our apologies. My family is a group, lonely with Creole mix, memories of women wearing utility belts, years where the obituaries went, dropping testosterone and threats, unwritten, phones, uncalled, tears into every conversation. I swear, unwept, grief, unsorrows, and speaks. I will kill that man if he hurt you like they hurt us. All right, 2 more. Woo! Okay, this is a short one. Yeah, this is a pastoral for funerals in Vermont. Bury me upright, off the side of a road industry hasn't touched. The tree trunk birds find shelter in. Crickets chirp funeral songs, then clock in to DJ my after party. Moths daredevil over fire pits. A log crackles their breaking wings. My legs itch. That's how I know they got to me. Mosquitoes. Oh, ex-lover. Leaving hickeys on the wrong parts. I'm a sunset of red and black and blue and moss with its green hands outstretched to ask for a dance. Okay, and then this is my last poem for y'all. Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here to support the other readers as well. So this last poem is a A poem I like to read to imagine the future, because I think imagination has become like a finite resource for some reason. But yeah, this is a spell for time travel. Take me somewhere that makes pollution a myth. Take me somewhere light don't take years to reach. Take me somewhere Americans can't imagine. Take me and mine through some portal and let us make it out whole. Take us somewhere freedom is not a taxable offense. How about 1804, a victory of Haitian Revolution, or 1992, when Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You was released? Gather these things and take us somewhere no legislation can touch. If there are 1,000 ways to die, I want to be far from them. Let this new place allow us time to grieve what we lost. May this place be protected from big oil fracking, Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, governments in their doomsday shelters. May this place be invisible to any descendant of Columbus. Take me someplace I don't have to bleach my way into. Someplace no blood money trust fund can buy. Someplace that will make heaven jealous. I am a victim of nostalgia and love songs before anything. Take me to that beach house in Idaho Frank was talking about. Take us somewhere my mother won't have to worry. If there is no place like this yet, look harder, look ahead, look farther. Rocket ship, cryostasis, time jump till you find it. I want the Pledge of Allegiance to be a funeral song for empires that outstayed their welcome. Over there, in some other galaxy, I don't have to think about. I want to better understand why politicians wouldn't piss on you if you were burning, wouldn't even admit they sparked the match. There's one Earth and we have too many billionaires acting like we got a second. I want to expect less from people that don't know my name. My problem is, in this world, Americans get tired of violence and turn to poetry, then defund art education right after. So get us out of here, take us somewhere. Love came from somewhere, right? Take me there, now.
Let's enjoy each other's company. I'll say on that note, if you donate and slip in the note that you want a copy of Damani's book that isn't here, just let me know and I'll make sure it gets to you. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.